as the rest of the students come on, they will be joining us. So first of all, good morning, everyone, and welcome. My name is Giovanni D'Amato. I'm the assistant principal of the Humanities Department here at the Williamsburg High School for Architecture and Design. I want to welcome you all here and thank you guys for the second year in a row. We are doing this presentation with Mrs. Gruener, and it has truly been a pleasure to work with Project Witness on the Project Heart curriculum. And so, you know, it's just a wonderful experience for us and the students, and I'm grateful to the teachers on our end who have been working with the students. All 4 years of the students did this curriculum in the middle of a pandemic for 2 years in a row. So I'm very proud of everyone for buckling down and getting the work done. Faggy and everyone at Project Witness, Mrs. Lichtenstein, thank you so much for making yourselves available and for always being there, you know, quick email away to help us get this done. And Ms. Gruener, thank you for giving up your time today to speak to the children again. So I'm going to ask from Project Witness if anyone would like to say a few words, and then we'll start getting through the program.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody.
Oh, good morning. Okay, we ready? Okay.
Yes.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Project Witness program, Project Heart. Special hello to the students and teachers of Williamsburg High School of Architecture and Design. And last but not least, a special hi to Mr. Giovanni D'Amato, your principal, and to the star of the show, Mrs. Ruth Gruener. Project Witness, a Holocaust Education Resource Center, is very passionate about having students like yourselves learn about the Holocaust and have the exceptional experience to speak to and interact with survivors like Ruth Gruener, who is originally from Lvov, Poland in Eastern Europe. Why is the Holocaust such an important topic, and what can we all gain from it? During the Holocaust, because of hatred and rampant anti-Semitism, millions of Jews, including 1.5 million children like yourselves, were uprooted, persecuted, and murdered, just because of hatred. What would have happened had people during the Holocaust been more educated and more tolerant, and been raised with and taught about acceptance? What would have happened if most neighbors in Europe would have been kind heroes that expressed humanity instead of hatred? Ruth Gruener was lucky to have a kind and tolerant friend who acted with such brave compassion that not only Ruth, but every one of us here sitting in this Zoom meeting is still being impacted by the things that he did 80 years ago. We are now able to speak to Ruth and learn from her story of kindness and hope and resilience firsthand. During the past year, life has been very unpredictable, making many of us very, very anxious. But in the middle of this crisis, it's quite incredible how heroic neighbors and friends like yourselves, teachers like yourselves and your parents have been stepping up to the plate and helping each other. By all of you joining this program, we at Project Witness have an enormous amount of hope for our future and for your future, for a life filled with kindness, resilience, and hope. Thank you for joining the program.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Weinstein?
Yes, good morning, everybody. So I'm Miss Lauren Weinstein. I teach U.S. history at WHSAD. So if you don't know me, it's nice to meet all you and see all of you on the meet. Today we have the privilege and the honor of hearing from Ms. Ruth Gruener, who is a Holocaust survivor. She was born in Poland in 1933. She survived both Soviet occupation and Nazi rule, and she immigrated to the United States in 1949. And I'll let her tell the rest of her story. She's here to speak to us today, to our community, and to all of the students and teachers and staff for the second year in a row, and we're very honored and privileged to have her here with us today. It's also an important day because today is Yom HaShoah. It's the Jewish day of commemoration of the victims of the Holocaust. So, you know, a very, very poignant moment to hear from a survivor of the Holocaust. And as a granddaughter of Holocaust survivors myself, I'm very happy and honored to be here to hear her story and to have all of you bear witness to her experiences. The chat is turned off, but I'm going to turn on the Q&A feature for everyone. So if you have a question to ask while Ms. Gruener is speaking, feel free to put it into the the Q&A feature on the chat, and we will answer it at the end of the session. So Ms. Gruener, whenever you are ready.
I'm ready. And thank you for your nice introduction. Yes. Okay. So first, I will ask you people a question. If you have read my story,
They're familiar.
and can anybody tell me which book you read? Because I have written two.
They did Project Heart. They did this Project Witness story.
Oh.
Okay.
Which one?
The one we did for you.
Oh, the.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well, I was just told that you have read it. So, and you have, I'm sure, very good questions. So it's, as you know, it's difficult to speak, to remember, to talk about the horrors that I went through, because it brings back when I'm sitting here at the table and looking at your lovely faces, and I feel so lucky that I have survived, because I lost my whole family, except I was lucky, very lucky, to have survived with my parents. And those times were, especially for a child, very, very difficult. I was always scared when I was in hiding. I didn't know what the next moment will bring. But it was actually very wonderful for me that I somehow realized I had no friends, nobody to talk to, sitting alone all day in the apartment of the Polish Christian family who were hiding me, because they were busy with their lives. They had 3 teenage daughters who went to work for a whole day. And in the evening, when they came back, instead of saying a few words to me, they ignored me, even though my parents told me that they used to play with me when I was a baby. But when I was in their house, I guess they didn't want to be reminded that because of me, they could be killed. So they just talked to each other, not a word to me. And it was very lonely. So I got the idea of speaking to someone. And the someone was God. I felt God was my friend. And I spoke, but I could not use my voice, because one time I was telling myself a fairy tale and used my voice. And Mrs. Chigio, the lady who was hiding me, walked into the room, and she said, "What, are you talking to yourself?" And I became very embarrassed. And after that, I just talked to myself in my thoughts. And then, thinking that I didn't remember that many fairy tales that I could pass the time with, and I remembered about God, and I thought that God was my friend. Why not talk to God? So I started to talk to him. And with such desperation, I remember I would say, "Please help me, help me, help me, help me." And then I took a deep breath, and I felt better. And I went back to my fairy tales. So I felt that I always had somebody to be with me and to watch me. And this helped me to survive. And if you have any questions in between my talk, I would appreciate, because I would want to know what details you want me to tell you about. Any question?
At the end, they're going to do
Or maybe at the end?
talk about, Yeah.
Okay, so I will continue telling to you that besides my suffering during the Holocaust, just because I happened to be born Jewish, I could have been born in a different country. I could have been born in Africa, in Sweden, in America, in any place in the world. I didn't pick the place I was born, and I didn't pick the skin color I was born. And all of people don't know, I'm sure, whomever I talk to. Sometimes I will ask a silly question, a friend of, would you know where did you choose being born during the Holocaust? Did you choose to be born in Poland? And everybody said, no, of course not, just like I did not choose. And so God created us all over the world. And no matter what religion, what country we come from, what skin color, we're all created the same way. We have hands and legs and eyes and a head on our body, and we are all people. And when I came to America after the war, I just found out, because in Poland I didn't realize that there was so much hate going on in the world. I thought that the only people in the world that were hated was people of Jewish religion. But I found out it wasn't so. And it was really horrible. And I worked at one of my jobs and made friends with a very nice so-called black girl. And she was born in New York. And she told me she had gone on vacation to visit her family in the South. And when she got there, and she needed to take a bus, and there was an empty seat in the front of the bus, which she took. And suddenly she heard a scream from somebody in the back. Hey, you don't belong to see, you're not supposed to sit in the front. You're supposed to sit in the back because you're black. Well, she didn't know that. She never heard something like that before. And she was shocked. And so was I when she told me that story. Because, like I said before, we didn't pick what skin color. And first of all, nobody told me that, but I came to this conclusion by myself that if you see me and my blouse is black and white, and people call me white, am I white like the white in my blouse? No. Is anybody black like the black on my blouse? No. We are all colored people. We have color. We were born that way. The so-called white people have pink cheeks. When they're excited, they get pale. When they get frightened, they get brown. When they're sunburned, we have all colors. And so are so-called people with darker skins. Always changed skins and got created people of color, just like people, like he created, for example, flowers. If anybody likes flowers and admires the beauty, and I would ask a girl, what color is your favorite in a flower? And she said, oh, I love pink flowers. And I would ask the same question a boy, and he would say, my favorite color is blue. So I say, when you plant a blue color next to a pink color, Do they destroy each other? Do they hate each other? No, they bloom beautifully. And this is how people have to live. Because we are all the same people. We have hearts. We have all things to make us move the same way inside the body, arms, legs, eyes to see. We are all the same people. And this is what I would like to see, if it's possible in my lifetime yet, happen, that everybody in this world can live in peace. And I'm speaking to young people, and I ask you all to repeat my story to others as much as possible, because the more people hear it, the better it makes them feel, no matter what nationality, what religion, or what skin color, because they learn to understand, like I said before, we are all the same people. And I wish that my grandchildren, as far and you people, you are young, and your future children and grandchildren will have a better life because you will have taught them to be tolerant and to like all people the same way, no matter what their skin color, no matter what their religion, so on. So, can I ask a question?
You want them to ask questions? Okay.
So we will, Ms. Gruener, we're going to start with some questions for you. Ms. Como and Mr. Kestner are going to have the students ask the questions, okay?
Okay.
Hi, good morning. I'm Ms. Como. I teach global history, and I know that we have some questions over in the Q&A, and also our student reporter, Dizelle, we'll start off with her because she has some questions prepared.
Okay, please remove your, when you ask, remove your mask.
Hi, I'm Dizelle, student
Okay.
reporter. My first question is, after the Holocaust, how did you handle your trauma? How did you begin the process of healing?
How did I begin what?
The process of
Process of healing.
Oh, the process of healing. Oh. Well, it didn't come overnight. I still was sticking with my parents as much as possible. And it took time for me to learn to appreciate again the fresh air that I was finally able to inhale, and the sunshine and the moon. And it was just so wonderful to come back to a normal life. And it took time, and I finally did it. And so I want to pass on this feeling of being happy to be alive and to be happy to be able to appreciate the beauty of sunshine, the beauty of the rivers and oceans where we can bathe and swim and so on. Thank you for asking.
Thank you for
Anybody
answering.
else?
I'm not sure if Mr. Kestner has anything, but I know that a lot of our students, one of the questions that they have was like, how did you come to terms or get the strength to share your story?
The strength, I really don't know. I of course, I started to eat because I was on a starvation diet during the war. And it didn't come overnight. I had to learn to be able to go to a window and look outside without any fear that somebody will notice me from across the street and report me to the Germans, I mean to the Nazis, because I don't hate German people, only those who are guilty.
They wanted to know what made you decide to share your story with other people.
When I did decide,
What
when
made
I
you decide
decided
to share your
to
story?
share the story.
Right.
Well, I decided to share my story when I came to America and started to go to school because my parents and I had to wait 2 years in order to get the visa to come to America. And we lived in Germany. And I play instruments, and I went to a teacher for accordion lessons to her home. And she said to me one day that if another Hitler comes, she will hide me. And I came home and I told my parents what she said. And my parents said, "Oh no, she's waiting for another Hitler. You cannot go there anymore." And so they were afraid to let me go to school. And all the teachers came to we didn't have an apartment to live in. We shared the 3-room apartment with another family in Germany because we actually didn't have any money and we got help from our American relatives who were helping us. And so I didn't know anybody my age. I didn't know if I should, I didn't even meet adults. My parents were with me constantly. They wouldn't let me out of their sight until I came to America and I started to go to school. And I decided to tell my friends, my American friends and others about my past. Although when I was graduating from high school, I asked one of the teachers if I should write a story to be printed in the yearbook, and so that everybody should know about it, even those kids that I didn't get to speak to. And one day, a few days later, I spoke to her. The principal called me in and he said he heard about my story and it is very sad, but those were his words. Your story is too sad for our children. I walked out, not understanding what he meant. Our children? Why was I different? And then for a long while, I decided not to talk about it and not to write about it until my parents encouraged me to do so because they explained to me that I have to do it and somehow somebody will get to appreciate, to hear that and understand, because they knew that I would want to be able to play with other young people of different nationalities, different skin color. That didn't matter to me. I knew in my heart that everybody is the same. And my parents said it would be good for me to share this opinion that I have. And so I started. Any other question?
Yes, may I ask a question?
Yes?
Take your mask off.
So after the war, into your adulthood, did you ever consider moving to Israel? knowing that there are other people who survived the same events as you?
Well, my parents, I was still an adolescent, and it was up to my parents where we were going. And my parents, since we lost our whole family in Poland during the Holocaust, but my father had two brothers and a sister in America. And when he contacted them, they said, "Come to us and we will help you to start a new life." And they were helping us even by sending us food packages to Germany, because it took us 2 years to receive a visa to go to America. And so we knew that my father's brothers and the sister will help us when we come. And they did. One of my uncles took me to live with them, and he rented a furnished room for my parents, and fed me, bought me clothes, and so did my aunt and the other uncle. And so we thought we were very lucky to have survived with some relatives and to be able to reunite with them. I understand my reason.
Hello?
Okay, anybody else?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes, he understood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Yes. Good morning, Miss Ruth. My question is, how did your relationship with God affect your people, knowing since God is a merciful God?
How did I don't understand your question. How did my relationship with
Relationship
God
affect
affect?
your people?
What do you mean by my people? My parents or
No, I
what?
mean the people like as a German, as the Nazis. How did like did you have compassion and mercy for them, knowing that God is a merciful God? Did you forgive
No,
them?
I didn't write or anything. And I happened to have very nice German teachers who came to my house to teach me. And they were not anti-Semitic. They were very nice people, even though they're German. I don't hate all the Germans because the Nazis were part of them. I only don't like the idea what the Nazis did, and their deeds and their killings and so on. But German, as a matter of fact, I'm very close with a German teacher. He's American born, but of German descent. And until this corona, he invited me to speak to his school in Alabama. And he was very nice. And he invited my husband to speak because my husband was a survivor of 10 concentration camps, and told his story to the students of this teacher. And he's still in touch with me. He is emailing to me, and he still is hoping that I'll be able to come and speak in person to his students.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
I have a second question. So having seen the horrors of hate firsthand, I noticed that you talk a lot about love and forgiveness. So I want to know kind of how you define love. Like, what is love to you?
Love is, first of all, to treat everybody like you would treat a relative whom you love, like a sister or a brother or a child of yours or a parent of yours. And not to think how they look, what country they come from, what religion they practice. just if they are kind people and they want to be my friends and spend time with me, and I love it. And I want to be friends with anybody who wants to be my friend. And I appreciate, after suffering in hiding so very much alone, I appreciate people who want to see me and talk to me and spend time with me and so on. Okay,
I've got a question, Miss.
thank you.
Miss, can you hear me?
Yes. Good.
My question is, you were like isolated in the room, right?
Could you
Like,
take off your mask so I can understand you better?
oh, I don't have a mask on. Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
could you take it off for
Wait,
just while
I don't
you
have-
ask the
Can
question?
you hear me?
Okay, now I hear you.
All right. So my question is that you were isolated in the room, right? From society. You were like in the room by yourself, right?
When
Right.
you were a child.
So like, did the solitude ever make you feel like you were going crazy? Like it affect your mind?
If I didn't go crazy
Yeah, did it like, because you were alone, did it ever make you feel like you were going crazy?
when I was in the room by myself, if I
Yeah,
was going crazy?
yeah.
Well, no.
You didn't?
No, because I had God to help me when I was desperate, and I finished tale. I didn't remember that many fairy tales to tell myself, or about holidays, about times I spent with my grandma, or this. So I was every day. Well, was sitting by myself in the darkest corner of the room, because even when it got dark, winter was coming, and the days are short, and they wouldn't put on the light for me because, first of all, electricity was expensive and they were short of money. And second of all, if a neighbor would walk and they would sit in the kitchen and I would notice a light on in the bedroom, they would say, "Oh, you forgot to turn your light off." And so, to begin with, nobody ever put on the light for me. Excuse me. So the only way that I would be able to stay sane, that I didn't go crazy, was to talk to myself and whatever. And I would tell myself, like I told you before, all the fairy tales that I knew, and to pray to my friend. And I prayed with such an heart, with all my heart, please, 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 please. And I felt better. I felt much better. And I want you to know that I continue doing that even now. When I go to a house of worship, I don't have to read the prayer that somebody wrote, because my prayer is from my heart. And I want to say myself what I'm praying for. I don't have to read this. And that makes me feel better. And so far, I'm getting great help from God. And and I'm trying to keep going as much as I can. And it's so wonderful I hope that this COVID-19 will pass soon and I will be able to see everybody in person in schools, and will help me to be again like a human being, like I wasn't for all the years that I was in hiding. Okay. Anybody else?
Thank you for your response.
Yes. Any question?
Okay, so as part of that we've done for the curriculum, we did the Project Heart curriculum. So some students have some work that they are going to present as a result of having studied the events of your life and the events that are in the curriculum. So now I'm going to pass it to Mr. Rodriguez, who is going to have his students share some of the work.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Hello, how you doing? Last year, unfortunately, a lot of the work was trapped in my classroom closet. So I wasn't able to share some of the work from last year's students. I have a few I want to show you quickly. And I believe a couple of the students from last year are in this meet, so they could discuss their work themselves. Then I have some current students that I have now that completed the assignment as well, like some poems, some drawings. I hope you'll be impressed with them. I was. So I'm going to show you a few. I'm going to present a few of students that aren't in the meet. And then I believe I have Dimitri and Saba in the meet. So if you guys would want to talk about it as I present it, that would be great. If not, then I could always talk about it. Okay, so let me just present to you a few pieces of work by the current seniors. Okay? Thank you. This is Jesus Diarza. He did this last year, and he did it in relation to the cover of one of your books.
Very nice.
Thank you. This was the next one is Maya Ortiz. She did this in relation to something she had found, an image, and then she recreated it in her own likeness.
Mm-hmm.
The barbed wire. And then I have one other one of a student that isn't here that I thought was pretty impressive. And this is Brianna Santos. She did this last year as well. A lot of detail went into it. It was right before we shut down last year, so I wanted to share those because last year, unfortunately, I didn't have them with me, and I hadn't taken pictures. I wasn't aware what was going to happen. As far as current student, there's two students that are in the meet. Dimitri, would you like to discuss your piece? Dimitri Brown?
Sure.
All right, cool. Dimitri, do you want me to share it and talk about it, or do you want to share it yourself?
You can share it because I don't have it like in like
All right,
at hand.
Thank you, Dimitri. So I'll present it, and then you could talk about it with Ms. Gruener. All right, here you
go. So hello again. My name is Dimitri, and this is the artwork that I drew last year, 2020. I want to first start by saying that I wish that the pandemic. Yeah, I wish that the pandemic didn't come about because I wish that I would have had more time to work on this piece of art. And also, I would like to say that it really meant a lot to me to really draw this artwork because I feel like each of us needs to understand each other and also understand other people's point of view and perspective and their experiences.
Okay, thank you. It's very nice.
Thank you, Dimitri. And Saba, would you like me to present yours? Would you like to talk about it?
Yeah, sure.
All right, thank you, Saba. So I'm going to present it now. Thank you.
So I drew this last year. So this was a liberation of one of the Holocaust camps. And because many of the camps are located in the East, like countries like Poland, Belarus, and many of the Soviet soldiers were liberated. So this is a representation of the Red Army soldier and the Jewish woman. So I drew as a representation of the liberation of the camp, basically.
Oh, that's a very good idea. You made the woman wearing stripes. That she was, because striped uniforms were only given to the prisoners in concentration camps. My husband, Jack, was in 10 of the camps.
I'm trying to let you guys see it.
Here his book,
Because I'm not getting it.
Prisoner B, the numbers that was on his arm was B3087, Prisoner B3087. And it's the story of his life, but at least I was lucky that I didn't have to be in a concentration camp, that I was just suffering hunger, cold, loneliness,
Yes, yes.
being alone. Yes.
Thank you. And then now I have thank you, Saba. Thank you, Dimitri. And now I have some current students that are in the meet. First and foremost, we have Raven. If Raven created a nice piece of art, would you like me to present it, Raven, or do you want, and then you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I have it, but I got
It's easier. It's probably easier if I do it, so don't worry about it. Thank you, Raven.
So yeah.
I got you right now. There you go, Raven.
I wish it would be out more, but I did do something else with the Holocaust prisoners, and I did find it really interesting also because they just did this to dehumanize them, and it wasn't really a reason behind it, but I just felt as though it was just really bad, and it kind of touched me a little bit because I know listening to your story, and just even though you weren't a part of this part of the Holocaust, I know that I heard your husband was, so that's why it did touch me also. But hearing it from a
Thank you
person
very
who
much.
it did, touch
Very, very nice. You're very talented.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you so much, Raven. Thank you, Ms. Gruener. And then I have a couple of students that are also in the meet. I know I gave a few because I wanted to make sure I wrapped up last year and give some credit to this year as well. So Lenz wrote a poem. Lenz, are you still in the meet? Do you want to talk?
Sure.
Thanks, Lenz. Do you want me to present it and then you read it and talk about it a little bit?
Yes, that'll be nice because I don't have it open on my computer right now.
No problem, Lenz. Thank you. I got you. Here you go, Lenz. Thank you.
All right. So, good. So this is the poem that I wrote. Time lost.
Could you read it to me because I can't.
They're gonna read it.
Oh, sorry. The poem that I wrote is called "A Time Lost." After I read some of the accounts of what the Holocaust was like and how many children were suffering through it, I wanted to write this to try and embody, or at least try and give a good description of the horrors that it was like. A time lost. A child cries. A mother released a pained sigh, trying to calm it with a hopeful lie, knowing death always walks by. And demons in the form of man are always close by. The rumblings of their heels hit the pavement floor. Humanity barely shows in their eyes anymore.
Oh, great. Very good. Keep up this good work.
Thank you.
The more help me, I need people to help me give the message that we're all equal to everybody, and I'm just alone, and I need people to help me to do it, and to be kind to others and teach them to be kind to others, and so on and so on. That the world should be better.
I have one more person, Junior Mildred Emofa, if you would like to discuss your work, or you want me to present it for you.
I actually don't have it on me. Could you present it?
Yeah, I got you. I got you. No problem. I didn't want to leave you out. Thank you so much. So this will be our last piece, and then I'll pass it over to the senior teacher, Ms. Cahill. Here you go.
Oh,
This was a picture of the train station that the cable cars went through. And when I searched up remembrance on the internet, that's a picture I found. And then at the top, I put never forget and then the Star of David.
yes, I see this is an entrance. Went after the war, I went to see the Auschwitz concentration camp, and I saw this, what you drew. It was a good job. And my husband was there, one of the 10 camps that he survived. And his parents were killed in Auschwitz. And what you did is the train would take people into the building. Either they were given a job if they looked well enough physically to be able to work, they were put to work, and then they would be starved to death and beaten and tortured and so on. And some were sent right away to the gas chamber. When those that received them saw that they wouldn't be able to do any work. So that was life in concentration camps.
Thank you so much to the students. Thank you so much for inspiring us to do this work. It's always a pleasure hearing you speak. So I'm going to pass it on to Ms. Cahill now, the senior teacher. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, we have two pieces of artwork from our current seniors, and then one poem that one of our students wrote that I will read for her because she wasn't able to attend today. So, Makai, I will share yours. Makai, are you still in here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, going to share it right now. Look. There we go. Go ahead, Makai.
Okay, so hi, my name is Makai. What I drew was basically depicting when you were describing how you went to America with your father, and I symbolized your father holding open his coat and how you were hiding under his coat. And you guys are surrounded by clouds, gray clouds and rain, but you guys are looking ahead to America. And I have the sun above it to symbolize hope and better days coming your way, more positivity and escaping the negative situation that you're in.
Very good. Keep up the good work. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
So meaningful. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Makai. And now we have Yufeng.
Hello, I'm Yufeng. Yeah, so it's just a simple drawing. On the left is Miss Ruth, and then she's holding like like a fire symbolizing hope, and it's passing down to like the future generation. And I feel like this message should be like keep passed down, and have have this story told to every single person.
Yes, what a wonderful idea. Yes. Thank you. I hope that everybody who hears me will help me in what I'm talking about so that the future world will be better for all people. And people should
Thank you. We have
and people should live in peace. And there should be no wars and no guns. What I can't stand is, as a matter of fact, I recently saw in a toy store guns, and the toy store was actually became a toy store from where I buy medication. And they started to sell toys, and among other toys were guns. And I was shocked, and I asked the owner, why do you sell guns? You want to teach children how to shoot? And he said, oh, he just didn't think of it. And the next time I entered the store, the guns were gone. So I hope that everybody will think that way and not teach children to fight, to kill, only to be good to one another.
And I have a poem from one of our other seniors that she asked me to read on her behalf. So I'll share the screen. A Sky Full of Stars. This is by Brianna Santos. I felt something grow within me, a sharp emotion infiltrating my mind, growing inside of me like a vicious tree as my pain began to unwind. It haunted my suffering like a tiger does its prey. I felt it move within my blood. My surroundings filled with color as the gray faded away, as the feeling resumed to flood. They always said the darkest nights produce the brightest stars. Well, my past was not just one dark night. I stood hopeless behind those iron bars. But today those stars shine bright. What was this feeling? It came up from the ground and down from the sky. It filled my entire being as I waved my past goodbye. I felt myself getting closer and closer to peace as I walked down this tightrope. The feeling only continued to increase, this feeling of pride and hope.
Very good. Wonderful.
Okay. And thank you. I will pass it now back to Mr. D'Amato.
Okay, thank you all for sharing. Thank you, Mrs. Gruener, for being here. Today was just a wonderful day, and to think that we did this in the middle of everything that's going on. And next year, God willing, you'll be here in the building with us, and all of us will be together in a big auditorium doing this together. So,
yes.
We just got to get through a couple of more months of this, but next year we'll all be back for year number 3. So thank you all for being here. Students, go to your next class. Teachers, go to your next class, and everyone else have a good day. All right. Thank you all.
Best of luck to all of you. And my best
Thanks,
wishes.
everybody.
Thank you. You as well.
Helping me to be
Thank you so much.
to spread the word about goodness for people and among them. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Have a wonderful day.